On the last episode of the youngest members of the VC Take New Jersey. Here's to draining the wallets today.
I'm ready to throw down.
You were lucky I had that second mimosa.
Sky Valley! Sky Valley! Dylan made me spend way too much fucking money one more time!
What are we gonna do, Jared?
We're gonna steal the decorations.
Woke up this morning, got some gabagoo. And then I woke up the next day and got some gabagoo. Keep waking up and keep getting different types of gabagoo. I even got some gabagoo from Scooby-Doo.
Apparently took a very interesting photograph. I don't know if it'll make it in the documentary.
No.
Are we all awake?
There.
We're getting there. I had 2 cups. I'm going in for a third and possible fourth. But today, we are going northbound. And we're first gonna kick the day off with some breakfast at the Route 1 Diner. New Jersey is kind of dubbed the sort of diner capital of America. So it was very fitting that we got breakfast at a diner. We are on our way to our first record stop of the day. Quite a notable, New Jersey landmark record store, and that is the infamous Princeton Record Exchange. And
Special guest is going to be appearing.
but you need to watch to find out. And the special guest that we have with us today is Bill over at the Vinylverse, coming with us to do some immense damage here at PREX, as they call it.
Yep.
Let's go. Bill, show us what you got.
All right. Starting with some avant-garde classical. Hans Werner Heinze. Know nothing about this, but I'm taking a shot.
Cool.
Carl Stockhausen.
Nice.
All on Deutsche Grammophon.
Oh,
Couple 7 inches. Peter Gabriel.
nice.
2. This is
Sweet.
Gloria with I Will Follow Live.
Nice.
Gong Yu.
Cool.
Great one. Leaf and Legion Leaf. I've been
Cool.
looking for this for a long time. Edgar Furzer. I think this is his last solo album.
Word. Princeton Record Exchange was absolutely awesome. Great selection overall. Things were kind of scattered around, but not too bad. And it was great that Bill from the Vinylverse was able to join us on that little excursion.
It was a great store. And
Hell yeah.
like as I'm walking away, I'm so happy I bought that box. I feel like I would have like run back in. I would have had Jared stop the car, like
Just double park somewhere.
Just double park somewhere because $60. I mean, my total in general was like, I thought he was gonna say something and I was gonna be like, ouch, that kind of hurts, but I'm happy.
Now,
But yeah, buyer's non-remorse.
all right, so here we are at Revilla Grooves and Gear. I haven't been to this shop in about a couple years. It was really, really solid. They sell VPI turntables, so it's almost like a low-key like a quasi-museum of sorts, but they have a killer selection. It's been a long time coming since I would return to this place, and I'm glad to be bringing these folks along.
Buy some shit.
Let's buy some more shit. Was that a fitting final stop
That was perfect.
on our record excursions?
I could have sat there and dug through that entire store for probably like 3 hours.
See, I think that's the cool thing. Like, that was the most time that we had spent in a shop, but yet there was so much to dig through.
Yeah,
so it was nice to.
And it was one of those where, like, every time, even at the bottom, like every time you go through, there's a bunch of gems down there.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
every record store has gems in the bottom bits.
So
but they did.
everywhere outside of Jersey, if you're listening, bottom gems.
Bottom gems.
I need to face the music and face the fact that I cannot buy so much that I have to have someone ship the other half of my albums to me, because I went the most crazy on this trip. I haven't really been buying albums for the past year, so I think once I was back in my element of the record store, I went crazy, and I was just so happy to be back in that environment again.
So we are at our next stop. I'm gonna hand the microphone over to Emma because she is responsible for this little excursion.
Yeah, so we are at a place in New Jersey called the House of Vibes, and I'm a huge fan of a band called the Gripweeds, and Kurt Ryle from the Gripweeds actually, basically this is his studio, and the Gripweeds have recorded here. A lot of great bands have recorded here that I'm really excited. I'm sure you're gonna get some inside scoop from Kurt himself, but yeah, I kind of reached out. I got the hookup from a fellow YouTuber on here, and ended up reaching out to Kurt and getting some info, and he basically said, nicest guy in the world, he basically said, come on down. So that's what this is gonna be. That's what this experience is gonna be, and I'm excited to see what happens. So we'll see who shows up. Woo!
I'm Kurt from the Gripweeds and House of Vibes, and I do a lot of productions here and a lot of Gem Records productions, among other things. And so we bought this house like many years ago now. I've lived here for so long. And the first thing we did is we walked down the stairs and we looked at this wall. we're like, wow, this could work. Because a wall like this is like, they call it in the business a diffuser. And if you hit a sound at it, the sound goes off in a million different directions because it's all these rocks, and it's not like a solid, smooth wall, which just bounces the sound back off you. This just kind of goes poof, and diffuses the sound. Perfect for loud music in the studio.
Oh yeah.
Right? So like, yes, this is it. This is where we want to be. Yeah. So, and it's really, this place has really served us well. This is the like the playing room, track drums in here. Then we usually, and the whole band plays in here usually. And then everybody's got like an amp off into the other rooms and stuff, just to get separation. So we can, the reason we do that is so if somebody makes a mistake, because no one's perfect, we can fix it. And it doesn't affect, like if you have a loud amp with loud drums and you got mics on everything, well, the drums are going to bleed into the guitar amp, the guitar is going to bleed into the drums, and if somebody makes a mistake, well, then you can't get rid of it. It's on every mic you have. So if you put the guitar away and isolate the guitar, then you can fix that little note that wasn't so good. Because the drums, because I'm a drummer, they're always perfect. Don't believe that.
Of course.
This is my old drum kit. I've had it, my brother bought it first. My brother's the guitarist in the band. We've had this since I was about 10 years old. And then I've changed it, added to it, and it's in constant state of change because I want different things sometimes. And if you go back here, it's not much to look at, but this is kind of a keyboard room, storage room, pianos and all kinds of fun things.
Whoa.
Electric pianos and stuff.
Is that an RMI or a
It's a
Wurlitzer?
Wurlitzer.
Okay.
It's the shit.
Yeah.
This is the shit.
For sure.
This is an old Hammond organ from the 60s that we got from the Smithereens, actually. Jim
Really?
from the Smithereens.
Is this a B3?
It's actually an L100.
Wow.
Which Ian McLagan from the, he was in the Small Faces, but he joined the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
Or he didn't join them, he was like on tour with them.
Yeah.
This was the organ they used, like not this one,
But this model. That's cool.
That's what he used. I think Keith Emerson from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, he used to like put knives.
Yeah, he always put knives. That was part of his shtick.
He would like
Stand
shake
on it, rock it back and
and
forth.
then they would turn it on and off. And the whole thing about the L100 is that if you turn it off, it goes.
Yeah.
Like that's some cool stuff that the
Sure.
B3 doesn't do.
Interesting.
And here's our
Whoa.
tape library.
Oh my God.
Part of it anyway.
Wow.
When we still record on tape, but we use a lot more digital now. But this is like our first, I don't know, third album, fourth album, fifth album from the Gripweeds.
Wow.
Stuff. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then there's more over here. Yeah, tape.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't remember those days, right? This is quarter-inch tape. That's all mixes, mix downs of our first few albums.
Wow.
The great thing about tape is if it can get unstable, just chemically. What happens is a tape is a piece of mylar plastic, right? And then they glue it, adhere onto it the metal oxides, which is the magnetic oxides that his recording is made on, stored on, and in time that lifts off, right? And if you put that tape on the machine after, let's say, 20 years, like this tape here, it'll be like, and all of a sudden you'll find the oxides are on your tape
On the heads.
and your heads and your tape is now without oxides. So you have to bake it.
That's right. It's like a low, slow cook.
That's right.
Pretty much.
It's like a beef jerky oven. Dry, not too hot.
Wow.
6 hours, and you put it in there, and it comes out and it's like new, and you can do what you need to do, transfer it or whatever. And
Interesting.
But this is a quarter-inch reel of tape. This is what we started with. Quarter-inch, meaning quarter-inch tape. It's literally quarter-inch thick.
Wow.
And it's 4-track. So this is what we started with when we made our first recordings. It was on this little 7-inch reel. And quarter-inch tape with 4 tracks, and that's all we had. So it was
Wow.
like, all right, what are we gonna do? Drums, everything on one track. Vocals,
Bounce it all together.
Bounce it all together. You didn't have much choice.
It's cool.
But that really, believe it or not, to this day, I mean, even though we have now unlimited tracks, we could do what we want. Just use another track. Yeah.
Convenience.
Back in those days, but back in those days, it was like you had to commit. And if you didn't get it right, start again. I mean, the whole recording again. But there's still, we have a little bit of that, like, discipline from tape days. Yeah. Of like,
that's great.
Keep it simple. Don't overwhelm it. Not too much stuff. Yeah, you can, but should you? That's the question. This console came from Jan Hammer, who was with the Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Yeah.
And he played with Jeff Beck, among others. Famous guy,
Yeah.
And he made on this console, I don't know if anybody's into 80s music, but the Miami Vice soundtrack was recorded on this.
What?
Really?
What?
So it's like, okay, top 10. I'll take it. This is Sound Workshop console. And Sound Workshop was, in its day, like, it actually came from upstate New York. And it was a big grunge console, actually. I think Nirvana did stuff on it. Not this one, but
The same model.
the same model in Seattle. They were big. And it's a rock and roll console, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Where we came from, being an analog, we started out, we didn't start out in this room, but we started out before this room recording in a small studio, and we had the little 4-track, and we had a board about this size, like literally that big, with maybe like this big here. And that's all we had. So this was like a huge jump for us to go to, wow, okay, now we have 28 tracks.
Wow.
And each track here, each channel I should say, is the same thing repeated over and over. So you don't look at a console like, wow, look at all those knobs. You go like this. Okay, volume, pan left to right, then you can add reverb and echo, then you can change the EQ up here, stuff like that. So that's how you go through a console. You kind of go right up the line. So yeah, that's the 2-inch.
Wow. 24 track.
24 track.
Jeez.
Otari machine. Just like, they're very reliable. This thing is like 30 years old. This is a 2-inch machine. I'm sorry, 1/4-inch 2-track machine.
Okay.
So this is what we use for mixing down to everything is recorded over here. Okay, so just for people that don't know, during the Beatles, it's kind of famous of Sgt. Pepper and stuff. They got into 4 tracks, and then Abbey Road, they got into 8 tracks, and so on, 16, 24, and now it's kind of unlimited now. Oh, they started to, in like the 80s, they were hooking together. In the 80s and 90s, they were hooking together like 2 or 3 24 tracks together, so that you'd have
like a
24, 48.
A monolith.
Right, 72.
Jeez.
So that's what they would have to do.
Wow.
Just to get more stuff.
So now, if you were to do like a mix down, would you have to adjust your levels on the console, have it play back, and then connect it to the 2-track, and then like record it as if it's like a live playback?
So the flow would be, okay, the sound comes in, it's recorded on this, right? And the output of this, so turn it on and send that out to the console. Mix on the console.
Yeah.
That and that uses a lot of this outboard, which we haven't talked about. That goes to this 2-track machine, right?
Wow.
So that is kind of the loop that the music makes.
Interesting.
Right? In digital record making, computer is used pretty all the time. But the difference is, instead of storing on the tape machine, it gets stored on the computer, right? And then when we do a mix, I like to use the analog console. I like analog sound, like compression and it just sounds better to me. So we do this big loop from the computer through all the analog gear and then print on the computer again. So it makes this big sonic loop that goes back and gets stored.
Wow.
And so that's it. It just makes it a whole lot easier compared to tape machines. There's a little bit of work involved. You know, like if you don't like let's say you want to do an edit. What a pain that is. You see this thing here?
Oh yeah, with razor blade.
This is a block, a cutting block. And you use a razor blade and leader. It's a real pain. You know, if you want to make an edit,
yeah,
what a pain that is. Yeah. You know, to cut 2-inch tape is like, oh god, if I screw up, you know. So like editing with digital is just amazing.
Yeah,
it's
just
great.
a couple clicks and that's it.
Right. It just makes things so much easier to do that. Yeah. But I really love the sound of analog, and like our albums pretty much start with the tape machine. Like we'll do our basic track, like Dig, started on tape. And then we did bass, drums, guitars, pretty much filled up a 24 track, transferred to digital, right? And then we added vocals and all the other stuff we added, and then editing and whatever we were going to do with that. Then the mix was digital, with high resolution.
Yeah.
It's all high res at that point.
So was everything beyond the basic tracks done digitally? Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, when we do something digitally here, like our microphone is going through a really nice preamp, which amplifies the signal. Then it's picking up like some EQs. Well, an EQ would be, let's see, that's an EQ. This is an EQ. It's just a bunch of frequencies that you can boost or cut, right? Put it through that. Compression, like those down here. These are all compressors down here. So those two pair down at the bottom, that's 1176s they're called. Those are like workhorse compressors that are on pretty much every record from the 60s to now. This here above it is what they call an LA2A, and it's a replica of one. And that's from the 50s on. It'd be like this great compressor. Then these are just preamps that amplify the sound. So everything has its. This here is from Abbey Road. This is EMI.
I saw the little logo. I was like, what?
Abbey Road Studios. Yeah, so this is what they call them. Look at this, microphone cassette.
What?
I don't know what that is. But what you got here is you have the. This is a preamp right here, the TG2 preamp. Then here's the TG1 optical compressor. That's a compressor.
Wow.
That is a curve bender EQ. So that's just one channel. You know, like do the microphone, put it in here, compress it, EQ it, send it to the machine, send it to the computer or whatever, or tape.
That's like an album today.
Yeah.
Somebody counted up.
Oh, Marley, your song. I got something to say that might cause you pain. Got you talking to the fourth again. I think I'll let you down and leave you flat. Because I told you before, oh, you can't do that.
A totally accidental thing that we will not take out.
Alright. Get a little friction going on your shorts and bada boom.
Whoa!
Is off.
He's a professional.
That's what I
You
would
can
work
tell
at
he's a
the record
professional.
store.
Oh my
And then you can
God.
just like bring it right off.
Yeah.
No, it's
Literally just rub it up against either like a jean surface or your shorts. Get your thumb in there. Wow. Just like that.
It figures that you would know this very cool method of doing this, but it's still amazing.
So what? I gotta.
There you go.
go.
Don't try this
As
at
long as you,
home.
when you feel the burn, that's when you know.
Don't try this at
But
home.
it didn't open for me.
No, he.
Oh, wait, I got it.
You got it.
Yeah.
There you
It
go.
only works if you really love vinyl.
And I do. And I do. Wow, that's pretty slick.
No, you can't solve
Arrow.
it. Arrow wants to put a flop.
Hold on.
Yep. Thank you.
I was honestly geeking out over seeing like a vintage 1980s recording console, then seeing a 24-track machine, then seeing the 2-track machines, and then seeing the library of master tapes and multi-tracks. Like it was just, it like the inner sort of analog, fanatic in me was so enthralled with everything.
I feel like everyone, it was just like such a surreal experience for us all to be like a fly on the wall. Like I've always kind of dreamed about going to a studio and like having a studio tour and just listening to like the rehearsal sessions and what goes into making the music that we all hear at the end of the day. And it was just so cool to like see that and be a fly on the wall and be like that little groupie for a day.
Thank you so much to the following individuals, to Matthew Street for helping kind of set up this House of Vibes visit, to Kurt Ryle and Kristen for hosting us, of the Gripweeds for hosting us at the House of Vibes. That was one of the coolest experiences of my life. They couldn't have been kinder and more welcoming to us. So thank you to them. Thank you to Dave and Rick of the Gripweeds as well for just a fantastic night of music. Thank you to Peter Horvath of the Great Anderson Council for stopping by. Marley of the Midnight Callers stopped by. We had Cindy and Henry of the Sins swing by as well. So I just wanted to make sure to kind of pop on here and kind of share my gratitude and thanks for that wonderful experience.
How's that sound? on the next episode of the youngest members of the VC take New Jersey. Good morning, Mom and Dad.
Good morning.
I am going to show them my record collection.
This is the face you make when you're trying to enable everybody with a record. You want this, baby girl? That is awesome.